Greetings and welcome to the 71st episode of Online Showcases, and as always I'm your host Elf Guy, and today we have another 13 randomly themed mods reviewing pleasure, including lots of new gameplay, graphical enhancements, as well as new dungeons, locations, and just lots more. But before we get started here, just real quick, I'd like to mention that for the first time, this episode has been largely recorded with a new graphical setup using the Morrowind Step Guide. So you'll notice some vastly improved looking graphics, and also maybe a slight, a performance drop here and there, but nothing too much. Now keep in mind, there's still a few mods here that were recorded using a MGS 3.0 setup. About 3 I think, but for the most part everything is new and shiny. But anyway, having said all that, as always all the links and timestamp annotations can be found down below, along with a link to the Morrowind Step Guide if you haven't tried it out yet. So let's go ahead and get started with our popular mod of the week this week, which this week is none other than Glow in the Dark by Melchior, Dahrk, and NullCascade. Now, I don't think this mod really needs much of an introduction. Since it was first uploaded in late July, it has taken the Nexus and the Morrowind modding community by storm, easily replacing Windows Glow as the best nighttime Windows Glow mod on the market. And that's basically what this mod does. It adds glowing effects to pretty much every window in the game that, comes on during the nighttime hours. And because this is a MWSC 2.1 nightly build Lua mod, it works with every other mod out there. So if you play a mod that adds, let's say a house to Cedar Lane, or somewhere else, the windows in that building will automatically start glowing at night, with absolutely no need for a compatibility patch. The mod works by applying the glowing effects to the window models themselves, so as long as a mod is using window models from the base game, it'll automatically get that amazing, atmospheric window glow at night. And there's also an included patch for a tower build, though even without the patch, most of the tower built to mainland will glow in the dark right off the bat, and I really just cannot possibly understate how great this mod is. In the short time that's been uploaded to the Nexus, I would call this an absolutely essential mod. Whether you're just, looking to update your game's graphics or spice up, the world's immersion, this mod is just fantastic in every sense of the word. It really makes just exploring the streets of Morrowind at night even more atmospheric than before, and with seamless support for mods, you'll get that same sense of just atmosphere and wonder no matter where you go. Now there's also the fact that this mod includes interior window sun rays, which just stream in during clear or lightly cloudy days, and which just really enhance the interiors of each house, tavern or shop you visit. And this works with Imperial houses, Nordic houses, even Halalu and Velothi buildings, which is surprising because they don't actually have, a separate interior window model, but it still works anyway. And if you haven't installed this mod yet, I don't really know what you're doing. You should just stop watching the showcase now and go and install it already. This will doubtless go down as one of the best mods of 2018, and it will almost certainly become a requirement for future graphics installs. So what are you doing? Just go out there and install it already. But anyway, for those of you still with me, checking out some of the other features included in Glow in the Dark, there's an optional .esp included in this package for adding Telvanni windows to Telvanni settlements like Sadrith here. And of course, these windows will also glow at night, with a particularly, more organic, look and feel. And again, this is really just an incredibly atmospheric addition, though this is probably the one part of Glow in the Dark which might, conflict with other mods, like, say, Morrowind Rebirth. But because it is, optional, the main mod is still 100% compatible with just about everything that isn't OpenMW. Now, just real quick, we're going to check out the mod config menu in the game's main menu here. Since the Glow in the Dark does come with a number of adjustable features, you can set the dawn hour and the dusk hour to just about any time you like, to decide when, windows should start glowing. You can also choose to stagger the window glow, so some windows will start glowing before others, or you can have it so that they all just start glowing at once. And of course, you can adjust the stagger effect so that it takes hours or just minutes for, every window to start glowing. And just real quick, we're going to show a time-lapse so you can see, this stagger effect in real time. And as you can see here, it's a pretty immersive experience. Windows will just gradually start glowing over time, giving, the impression that someone just lit a candle in each room, instead of everything just coming on all at once. And anyway, this is an absolutely amazing must-have mod, and I really can't recommend it enough. If there's one mod you download from today's showcase, make it this one, and I cannot possibly understate just how fantastic this mod is. You should absolutely check it out right now and go play it for yourself. For our house mod of the week this week, we have Ascadian Cottage by Korana. And now, this is really one of those mods I just can't believe we haven't showcased before, because it's an absolute classic, and not only is it one of the best house mods that Korana ever made for Morrowind, but it was also a Planet Scrolls Hall of Fame winner back in the day. and one of the most popular house mods in the community. But anyway, focusing on our showcase here, Ascadian Rose Cottage is an absolutely beautiful and breathtaking house mod located along Lake Amaya in the Ascadian region, including a servant's house off to the side, and some truly wonderful gardens around the front here, and also a scenic little set of docks in the back, including an NPC who can offer transport to some of the other towns in the region. And the back of the house also includes a balcony overlooking Lake Amaya, providing some just truly fantastic, one-of-a-kind views. And really, this entire property here is like something from a fairy tale village. It's just an amazingly beautiful, idyllic dream home for those who want, someplace scenic and cozy to stop in at. And just real quick, we're going to check out the house here at night, taking advantage of our popular mod of the week, Glow in the Dark, to, just highlight how this mod looks with a modern graphical setup. And somehow, with glowing windows, this house becomes even more of, just a dream home at night. And it's just stunningly beautiful no matter what time of day you view it in. And this also helps to highlight the versatility of Glow in the Dark, as it works with pretty much every mod that you can imagine, as we'll see here again and again later on in this video. But anyway, getting back to the rest of the house features, this home isn't free, and you'll need to purchase it from the servants here for about 3,000 gold before you can move in. And both of these servants here also have a bit of a unique dialogue, as well as, services they can just, provide you with. Now, heading on inside, you'll find the main dining room right off to the main entrance here, including a small dining table, a roaring fireplace, and an overall just cozy atmosphere, with flowers, paintings on the wall, and much more to just give this room a warm sense of, feeling. And down the hall from where you just came in, you'll find a small display hall with a couple of tables that you can use to show off your own items if you so desire. And anyway, just heading back to the rest of the ground floor here, you also find an absolutely beautiful and cozy kitchen to call your own, which has just a lot of that rustic charm to it, with, a decorated plate, say a roaring fireplace, lots of pots and pans, and even a kettle, a small pantry off to the side where you can, pick a number of seasonings to use in your cooking. And really, this is probably my just favorite room in this whole house. It just has so much charm and detailing. It's really the perfect country kitchen, but there's a lot more to this house than just a kitchen, so let's take a look at a few of the other rooms here, which includes a downstairs children's bedroom with 2 beds and a hammock for any children, NPCs you might have with you. And they even have their own set of toys and a little, table here with a toy tea set they can play with. And going upstairs, you'll find the lounge, including a few, musical instruments, a bookcase full of books, another roaring fireplace, and a few cozy chairs to just lay back in and relax. And off to the side from the lounge here, you'll find the master bedroom, which isn't terribly large. It's a bit on the snug side, really, but no less cozy for all that. And down the hall, you'll find the library and alchemy lab with a desk for you to work at, including alchemical equipment, and also ingredient baskets for organizing your alchemical ingredients and all that. And finally, on the top floor, you'll find the family bath, including a bathtub and a number of lotions to use to, just rub off the dirt from a long day's travels. And going downstairs, you'll find a fairly large basement, including a separate sort of basement kitchen, or, oven for baking bread and, things of that nature. Though the main attraction down here is, of course, the storage hall, which includes all sorts of knickknacks and, other items, but also plenty of containers to store your stuff in if you so need. And all in all, this is just an absolutely beautiful and cozy home, and really well worth checking out for yourself. I would just highly recommend it. This week's gameplay mod of the week is Ownership Indicator by Pete the Goat. And now the idea behind this mod is really pretty simple. It adds an Oblivion-style ownership indicator when you hover your mouse over an owned object, which, as you can see here, shows up as a red hand, so you know with absolute certainty that the thing you're about to grab is owned, and that picking it up will, be considered stealing and a crime. There's been a variety of these sort of mods over the years. We actually showcased an ownership cursor mod way back in the first episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases, but this is probably the most immersive and feature-complete one I've seen from Morrowind. And it even comes with a list of features that you can adjust, as you can see here by just opening up the mod config menu in the game's main menu. And yes, this will require the latest MWC nightly build update. And anyway, you can auto-hide the crosshair, set the ownership indicator texture, change the crosshair scale or increase the size of the indicator, so that it appears, larger or smaller, which is really pretty handy. So, if you're having trouble seeing if something is owned, just increase the scale, or if you don't want the indicator, blocking your view, just decrease the size a bit. And there's a lot of great features here, and of course it also works for pickpocketing. If you sneak around and try and pickpocket someone, you'll see that same red hand indicate you're about to commit a crime, and this is really just a great mod, regardless of whether you're a law-abiding Imperial citizen, or a thief out to just steal everything you can. I would just highly recommend checking this one out. It's just a great convenience mod and fits in pretty well with the rest of the game here. Now next up we have our Dungeon Mod of the Week, and this week we have Arcanthin Reborn by Rubberman. And no doubt many of you are familiar with this particular Dwemer dungeon found between the towns of Nissus and Alvalothy. It's probably one of the more, I would say, iconic Dwemer dungeons, at least on the exterior, in the base vanilla game. But it was always a bit on the underwhelming side, as it had an incredibly small interior, and barely any loot to speak of. Now with this mod, that's really no longer the case. Gone is a boring and just a forgettable dungeon of vanilla Morrowind, replaced with a much larger and much more unique and atmospheric Dwemer dungeon that includes puzzles, a fair bit of loot, and of course a few hostile creatures to deal with. And much like Rubberman's other Dwemer Reborn mods, this is part of the Dwemer Rebirth project, a modding series that aims to overhaul really all the Dwemer ruins of Morrowind outside of, Red Mountain, which is of course the domain of Darknight's Grey Dwemer Ruins. Now obviously, this means that you can just install the Dwemer Rebirth project if you want, and get this dungeon overhaul as a part of it. But if you're concerned about, mod conflicts and all that, you can install each overhaul separately, as are each individual mods that you can choose from. And anyway, back to this particular, Dwemer dungeon mod. We actually showcase this mod as one of our mods of the month for December 2017. And it's really easy to see why. There's a lot of scripted and animated components to this dungeon overhaul, and not to mention lots of new items, from pots and, just dishware, to gears, various tools, furniture, and just a lot more to really give this Dwemer ruin a makeover. And as with all the mods in the Dwemer Rebirth series, there's a pretty strong influence from Skyrim here, with atmospheric blue lighting and detailed dungeon interiors, quite unlike the dull affairs of vanilla Morrowind. You'll even encounter a handful of NPCs in here, apparently researchers studying the Dwemer ruin, and they each come with a fair bit of just unique dialogue explaining their mission, and talking about the ruin a bit. There isn't a quest here per se, but there is, more going on than just a simple dungeon romp. And all in all, this is a great dungeon mod to check out, either as part of Dwemer Rebirth, or on its own, and I'd certainly recommend it. For our items mod of the week this week, we have Antares Mage Robes by Archimeister Antares. And now this is really, pretty similar to Melchior's Mage Robes mod that won this year's Morrowind May Marathon Month modding competition, and it operates basically the same way, by giving each of the various members of the Mages Guild a new set of robes. And this is perhaps a bit less, flashy than Melchior's mod. There's a single color scheme for these robes, a blue with a gold trim, but they do come in a, variety of types, with just some more plain robes for associates of the Mages Guild. And gradually, as one gains rank, one gets access to more, ornate robes with more of a trim and just more ornamentation on them. And even though these robes aren't as colorful as Melchior's, they're still really nice looking, with a pretty good, quality and feel to them overall. And if you're looking for something just a little more plain and universal in appearance than Melchior's mod, with perhaps, less extra stuff, this is a really good mod to check out. And I would definitely recommend it if you're just looking for, an alternative Mage Robes mod. And this week's quest mod of the week is a full-fledged Dagenfell Mages Guild by Half-11 and Yutsava. And as you might expect, this mod adds a new chapter of the Mages Guild to Dagenfell, which, as you can see here, blends in fairly well with the rest of town. And contrary to some of the various opinions out there, this actually fits in pretty well with the vanilla game. A lot of the vanilla Mages Guild quests have to do with Dwemer research after all. It does, kind of make sense that the guild would have a small chapter here, given the rich, Dwemer ruins nearby. And anyway, inside you'll find a fairly normal looking guild hall, with about 4 or 5 NPCs, an upper floor dedicated to just providing some sleeping chambers and the like, and that's really just about it. Again, this is, obviously a smaller chapter than most of the Mages Guilds you'll encounter in Morrowind, partly because it is in a much smaller community. Now, moving on, this is actually sort of an updated version of another mod, the original Dagenfell Mages Guild by Yutsava, which was really just a guild hall with no quests, and this updated version by Half-11, released for this year's Morrowind Marathon, adds about 5 quests they can do for the various characters here, including hunting down various dangerous creatures, like wolves that have somehow been transplanted from a Solstein, and to exploring old Quama egg mines and negotiating with priests of the Imperial cult, among other things. And some of these quests have multiple outcomes, while others are pretty straightforward. And all in all, this gives you, quite a bit more to do in the Dragonfell region if you're a member of the Mages Guild. And really, can you ever have too many quests? If you're looking for just some more mage-related content to do, this is definitely a good mod to check out. Next up, we have our Landmass Mod of the Week, which this week is Castle Canthrock by Centurion. And no, I have no idea how you actually pronounce Canthrock, I'm just guessing here. And anyway, I'm kind of cheating here a bit. Castle Canthrock, while it is technically available as a separate landmass, was also released as part of the 3.1 release of Outer Drace. So we have technically showcased one version of this castle already. But hey, we're little low on landmass mods at the moment, so we'll take, whatever we can get. And this is also one of only about 2 mods in this video that were recorded using a modified MGSO 3.0 install of Morrowind. So this isn't the step guide that we're using here, but rest assured, this will be one of the very last mods showcased with the, the old graphics setup. But anyway, as the name would imply here, Castle Canthrock is, well, a castle located in the Bitter Coast region, though it comes with an optional patch to place the castle in Outer Drace instead to, avoid conflicts and all that. Now, the castle here sort of sits on its own island and includes a set of docks as well as a set of steps leading up to the main castle courtyard. Now, you'll need to call the drawbridge here in order to get inside. And much like a Centurion's other castle mods, Castle Canthrock takes a sort of realistic approach to, just a castle design here. With an eye made towards the defensive fortifications with high walls and towers and multiple gates that invaders will have to pass through in order to get to the inner courtyard, as the castle grounds here are divided into 2 areas, a more, sort of a public courtyard, where you'll find the blacksmith and guard quarters, and a more sort of, private courtyard that's divided off by a gate with access to the private tower for the castle lord, and also the banquet hall. And going inside through the main public entrance here, one of the first things you'll find is a small dining hall, which gets used by the local ranking officials for just minor occasions. And also right past this dining hall is the main castle kitchen, a rather large set of chambers with access to servant stairwells where food can be, just prepared and served quickly throughout the castle grounds here. And on the other side of the main entrance hall here, you'll come across the castle's chapel, a fairly simple and straightforward affair with some pews to, sit and give worship at, and a priest. And upstairs, you'll find a small display hall with a number of just armored display mannequins, display and weapon cases, and of course some suits of armor to, just guard it all. Now, this hall will eventually bring you to the main banquet hall, which includes an open bar, 2 rows of dining tables, and an upper level platform for musicians to play as, everyone else eats to their heart's content. Naturally, this would be where you would, host visiting nobles and knights, or hold various festivals and celebrations and all that. Now, in a sort of separate part of the castle here, you'll find the main guard chambers, including bunk beds for, your castle guardsmen, their own private dining accommodations, and towards the back here is the armory, which is really just another display hall for you to, use if you so desire. And there's also an adjoining torture chamber for, of course, torturing prisoners and the like. Also attached to the castle is a general trader who carries a handful of goods, and of course can buy some of your loot for a decent price, though he doesn't have a huge amount of gold. And of course, there's also a smithy with about 5,000 bartering gold, who can sell you various weapons or, take some off your hands, depending on what you want. And also connected to the smithy here is a small apothecary, where you can buy various healing brews, but that's pretty much it for the castle services. And now, just moving on to the top of the Private Lord's tower, and if you hadn't figured it out yet, this is very much a house mod that you can just move into right away. And in any event, the private quarters here includes a bedroom, a small private display hall with, armored display mannequins and display cases and all that, another bedroom for guests or companions, a small private dining room with a roaring fireplace, a small table for yourself, and also a few guests or companions or what have you, and also a grandfather clock so you can, keep an eye on the time. And right next to the dining room is the master bedroom, which is fairly large and cozy, including another fireplace, a private seating area, a few containers for you to use, as well as a shelving unit for, throwing some of your stuff on. And all in all, this is a very scenic and rather cozy castle, and if you're the type who likes, castle homes, this is definitely a good one to check out. For our NPC Mod week this week, we have yet another God Diversity by Half11 and Skooma Pro. Now, as the name of this mod would imply, this is basically another God Diversity mod, much like a mods by NazoX9, Brookums, and others. It aims to make the gods of Morrowind a little more interesting by giving them a greater mixture of gear, with some gods and ordinators having shields or helmets, while others go without, or some having robes or not. And while the traditional gods of various great houses and the temples remain almost exclusively Dunmerian rank, the Imperial Legion has been diversified quite a bit, with more men and women from the different provinces of the Empire patrolling the streets of Imperial towns, settlements, and forts. There's also a lot of different types and styles of gear with the Imperial Legion guards here, as the base vanilla game had about, I think it was like 3 or 4 different Imperial Legion, armor sets, so there's a lot of variety to choose from. And now you'll see all sorts of equipment being used by the Imperial Legion guards. And another detail to point out here, each guard will now have a different face, so there's no longer a case of every guard looking exactly the same. Now, there also appears to be a lot more guards just roaming the streets and just guarding Imperial fortifications than there was in vanilla Morrowind, so expect to have just a slightly harder time getting around if you're a known criminal. And this mod also covers all the different types of guards in Morrowind, including the ones for Great House Raydoran, Halaldu, and Telvanni. Though the Telvanni diversity is actually, kind of optional, because a lot of other mods kind of touch on the Telvanni area as well. And you can also set which armor you want the Telvanni to wear. There's a few different options, but anyway, this is perhaps the newest, but no less, a great God Diversity mod, and definitely worth checking out. This week's new meshes and textures mod of the week is Articus, Old Mournhold, and Suez Retexture 2K by Articus. And now this is a bit of a newer mod, but it's already become a fairly popular replace in the community, and has also been included with the Morrowind Step Guide, which, full disclaimer, this video was largely recorded with. And in any event, much like the name would imply, this replacer covers the sewers and ruins of Old Mournhold, providing them with new and high-resolution updates that stay true to the vanilla game's visual appearance, while also giving them a massive just visual overhaul. And indeed, this replacer comes in 2K resolution, making it one of the highest resolution replacers for this particular tile set. Now, historically, this has always been a sort of overlooked aspect of the game. There's really not that many replacers for the Mournhold sewers and ruins here, and there might be 2 or 3 others out there, but really nothing particularly recent outside of this one, which makes it all the more welcome, and an obvious pick for graphic mod enthusiasts trying to get everything in their game up to a 2018 graphical standard. And we're just going to take a look, not just at the sewers, but also some of the ruins down in Old Mournhold here, as this replacer covers both the ruined buildings of the residential district, and also, their interiors, with a new and improved, just appearances. And if you're looking to get everything in your game updated visually speaking, or if you're just, following the Morrowind Step Guide, this is definitely a great replacer to check out, and, I'd recommend playing it in-game for yourself. Next up, we have our modest resource mod of the week, and this week we have Luminescent Flora by Digman, and there's really no denying this is a bit of a, sort of a strange resource. Basically, it adds about 34 different types of blue-colored luminescent flora, specifically grass, trees, namely that is to say pine trees, kelp, ferns, and shrubs, for you to, use in your own mods, perhaps for some sort of fairyland realm, or an underground complex or cave, or some other, dark environment where you can, really appreciate the luminescent effect here. And all these resources come with a glow-mapped version, so they'll show up particularly well during the nighttime hours. And while again, this is a bit of an, just odd resource, it could definitely be used for a variety of different style mods. It might be worth taking a look at. And anyway, for our underrated mod of the week this week, we have Pluto and Charon moons by Ethereum. And this is a fairly simple and straightforward moon replacer for Secunda, replacing the moons with the real-world, high-resolution images transmitted from NASA's New Horizons mission of Pluto and Charon. And while this might seem like a bit of, an odd choice for a moon replacer, it works pretty well for the Morrowind night skies here. And obviously the replacer quality is pretty great. Now, this was actually one of about 2 different moon replacers that were released as part of this year's Morrowind Modathon modding competition back in May, but like a lot of, small mods, it kind of just got overlooked in the sheer excitement of the competition. And while it might not be, to everyone's taste, after all, it is, probably not the most lore-friendly replacer, it's still a great looking option to, just consider here. And definitely worth checking out if you want a new and slightly different look to the moons of Morrowind. This week's Blast from the Past of the Week is Ondirian Verag by Commander D'Artemian. And no, I have no idea if any of that was pronounced correctly. I have no clue. But anyway, this is a bit of an just older mod, released around 2005, but no less a classic for all that. It adds a new home to the Ascadian region, a rather massive mansion just north of Plesiad along Lake Amaya, a rather popular spot for both house mods and other types of mods. So this will cause, a lot of conflicts, particularly with Morrowind Rebirth. But ignoring that for the moment, this is just simply a beautiful home with a set docks along Lake Amaya here, including some outdoor dining and some, scenic waterfalls. And up from the docks, there's a small path heading up to the main house, where you'll find a small, outdoor garden with some pretty cool lighting effects, a statue of Azura for some reason, and some outdoor dining again. And this is really just an incredibly beautiful home, just from the exterior here. And of course, as we've done earlier in this video, we'll be taking a look at this property at night time, so you can get the full effect of both the outdoor lighting and also glow in the dark, which of course automatically works with every mod, providing scenic, glowing windows to warm up the cold dark of the nighttime landscape with. Now the backyard here is where you'll get the full effect of the outdoor lighting at night, and it's really a pretty, colourful property. I love this sort of, mixed colour lighting along the exterior. I think it gives the home a greater sense of atmosphere, and when combined with glow in the dark, it just makes for a fantastic effect. And anyway, just heading inside, you'll find a sort of typical, common rich style interior, with a main entry hall that doubles as a display hall, with a couple of tables that can be used to show off various items. And you'll note there's a lot of just potted flowers in here to just give the room a bit of colour. And heading towards the back here, you'll find a lavish dining room that opens up right into a rather sizable open-air kitchen. The dining room table here is fully set, ready to serve a large group of just companions or guests. And you'll again notice a number of flowers in here to just liven up the place. And the kitchen here is also quite nice, including lots of counter space and a couple of ovens, so you'll have plenty of room for, preparing a just large meal. Now, heading back through the dining room, we're going to check out the lounge, which is a bit off to the side here, connected to both the main entry hall and also the dining room. This is again a fairly large room with lots of flowers, a roaring fireplace, a couple of chairs to sit at and just relax in, and you'll note that this home uses 100% vanilla Morrowind assets. So everything you see here is from the base game, which demonstrates a bit of creativity with this home on the author's part. And upstairs you'll find a grand library with several bookcases just full of books, as well as a couple of tables and chairs where you can, pull a book off the shelf, sit down, and enjoy a bit of reading in private. And this is probably my favorite set of rooms in this house, just because I really love, the book-lined wall aesthetic here. Now you also find a sort of study attached to the library here, which is again pretty grand looking, with a desk and a number of new books added by the mod on display here. It's certainly a grand looking room, and one you'll want to, spend a lot of time in. At least it's the room I would personally, spend all my time in, if it were my home anyway. There's also a master bedroom upstairs, as you might expect, and this is a fairly large open air chamber with a bed, a desk, shelves, and a few containers for storage and all that. You'll even find a door out to a private outdoor balcony overlooking Lake Amaya, which you can see here. And the balcony comes with some private outdoor dining, and this is just a great little hideaway. Sort of enclosed here, yet, with just amazing views of the Ascadian region. Now, in addition to a master bedroom, there's also about 6 guest bedrooms for companions or other 7 NPCs, and there's really a lot of accommodations here. 2 of these bedrooms are actually, fairly sizable, with their own storage and display areas, and 4 additional bedrooms are off in their own wing, each of which is of a decent size and with a modest amount of decorations already. So they're pretty much, all set to be moved into. Whether you want to claim them all as your own, or have a gaggle of companions just to move in with you. And now, we sort of skipped over this before, but this house does come with a downstairs alchemy lab, which includes a set of alchemical equipment, some deeply atmospheric lighting effects, ingredient jars for organizing your various alchemical ingredients and all that, and a storage hall just across the way. Now, since we're already, touching upon the lower parts of this home, we're going to go ahead and head down to the cellar here, which is again just very atmospheric with the interior lighting here, and contains 2 sets of rooms, including a wine cellar area over to the side here, which has a number of barrels of wine, as well as some sort of a dwemer device for some reason. Needless to say, there's a lot of storage down here, and also gated off is a room full of just wine racks, where you can find various rare and certainly expensive, bottles of wine. And gosh, I just really love the design of the cellar here. It's just so atmospheric with the interior lighting. It feels like a right and proper cellar. But there's a bit more here than meets the eye. There's actually a secret passage here, which when activated will reveal a hidden away treasure room, where you can keep your most valuable goods away from prying eyes and thieves trying to, just rob you of your precious possessions. Now, this is actually only one of several hidden away secrets about this house, but we won't be revealing the rest here. Just know that there's a lot more to see here than what we're actually showing. And anyway, this is just an absolutely fantastic and gem of a house mod that really highlights some of the more cozy and just creative designs of the mid-2000s, and it still holds up pretty well today. I'd highly recommend, just checking it out for yourself. Finally, for our bonus mod of the week this week, we have Ghost Revenge by Rot. And now the basic idea of this mod is really just pretty cool. When you kill or murder a Dunmeri NPC, if they have an ancestral tomb somewhere in Morrowind, after a few days, their ghosts will just appear in that tomb, and you'll get to run into them again. So if you, go on a bit of a killing spree, killing a lot of, otherwise seemingly unimportant NPCs, they'll have their chance to get their revenge, as the next time you go delving through a tomb, you'll be in for a bit of, a rude encounter. Now, this is just a really cool addition to the game here, and gives an additional function to the ancestral tombs around Morrowind, as, just a gathering site for angry spirits. And not only that, this mod doesn't just work with your typical innocent bystander that you kill. Oh no, it also works with bandits that you encounter out in the wild. So even without, meaning to, you might incur the wrath of an angry spirit when you accidentally, come across the ancestral tomb of a Dunmer that you killed an age ago in a bandit's lair. This is just a really fun little addition, and Ghost Revenge is arguably one of the most overlooked mods from this year's Modathon competition, though it's easy to see how it could be missed with so many different, entries this year. And if you're looking to add a bit more, excitement to your next dungeon romp, or just want an atmospheric new world edition, this is just a great mod to check out. And anyway, that wraps up this episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases, and as always, down the links or down below. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And anyway, I'll see you all next time.